Yes. What an incredible television program. You kiddies, I guess the sub 35 crowd with your PC and woke and all that. I don't think you're going to like the Jeffersons. And that's a shame. You probably wouldn't like Blazing Saddles. I was watching Blazing Saddles. I literally videoed about a 30-second clip that I was going to post on Twitter. I was like, Corey, you can't post this on Twitter from Blazing Saddles. That's right. I wouldn't mind a little George Jefferson right now. What a great program. Instead, it's 2 hours of the neutral ground. Corey Johnson coming your way. Spread the word. Tell your friends about it. I've been doing it a while, but what I love about radio, at least the approach I take, I kind of have the same mentality I had when it was year 1, year 5, year 10. Sort of take like a fledgling approach. The field's still very long. You're nowhere near the goal line. Trying to put out that effort, like I'm 27, 30, 32 years old. Not slowing down one bit. I got some contemporaries, some folks a little older than me that are retiring in that semi-retirement mode. I'm glad for them because they're happy. That's all I'm concerned with. If they were retired and unhappy, I'd be trying to suggest maybe you need to open a snowball stand or something. But I'm pretty happy working, and I don't think about retirement, and I try to take on the job with the same vigor and enthusiasm when I was a young pup. Still feel young. 50-something going on late 30s, early 40s. That's how I feel. Anyway, Corey Johnson back at you on a wide open Wednesday. You know you're going to get my take each and every day. I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to have a strong opinion. That doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to have a strong opinion. It's like learning math or Spanish. You can cram at the end and pass the test, but you're not going to retain it. But if you were to just take 15, 20 minutes each day and learn, you'll learn that math or Spanish. You'll retain it. You'll become pretty fluent in it. That's how I kind of approach this every day, taking in little bites of information, news stuff. This little cellular device / computer is a fantastic piece of technology for anybody doing talk radio, talk television, that type of thing. So no, I try to stay on it every day, try to stay prepared. I don't talk about things I don't know anything about. It's Wide Open Wednesday. You're the show producer. I'm not scared of any topic. I like to learn. Fill me in on something that you think we're not talking about enough or something that needs to be discussed. That's what Wide Open Wednesday is all about. You're the show producer. But I come prepared every day, and I'm going to have strong opinions. And I want you to join us. Rouse's Markets phone lines are always open. Jason turning the knobs, fielding your phone calls. He doesn't screen your calls. You're not getting grilled by Jason going through this layer of a scrutinization before you come on the air. It's kind of the opposite. Jason's doing a bunch of things at once. And, hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Frank and Gentili, hang on. You're up next. That's about it. Doesn't want to hear what you think. Because we want it live on the air. Well, I don't want you spilling your guts to Jason. And quite frankly, Jason doesn't want to hear it. We want it on the air. That's why I don't believe in the, quote, screening process. That is just part of the bread and butter, part of the fabric, the structure of talk radio. The screening process, the call screener doesn't exist here. Might as well have an automated machine. What is your name? Where are you calling from? Brenda in New Orleans East. Hold. That's that. Jason's going, yes. He's excited, smiling. We need an automated answer machine. Hang on, Brenda, you're next. That's what it should be. Nothing else. because I don't want you throwing everything out to Jason. Then you come on the air and you might not have as good a take. And you know, that we're not screening you. I'm not trying to steer you in one direction or the other. And there's a back end to that deal too, where most talk radio hosts, they'll be flailing the thumbs up, and it's not like Fonzie. It's get them out of there. Get them out of there. Some caller that is, you know, putting the host in their place or making too much sense or making no sense at all. Show hosts cut callers off all the time. And it's funny. They think they're crafty or, you know, slick about it, where the, you know, caller's making great points and then the show host starts talking over them. The caller's sort of faded out. The show host goes on for about 20 seconds and then goes, hey, Bill in Kenner, thanks so much for the call. Charlie in Laplace, you're next up. Bill in Kenner wants to keep making a point, but the producer, the show host, they've 86 that caller. We don't cut anybody off, especially when you disagree. So no screening process. Everybody's welcome, and we don't cut you off. I never understood that. Day one when I was in talk radio, those things were illogical to me. I did not understand them. I was green. I was like, I guess this is how it is. Then after a while, I'm telling my screener, I was like, dude, what were you doing on the phone before I went to Frank over there? He's like, well, he was telling me, yeah, don't talk to the callers. And like one producer was like mad at me about it. I'm like, dude. And I explained, he's like, okay, I get it. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Don't want the guy, you know, shooting all the bullets out of his gun, talking to you, and then coming on the air and forgetting his main points. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Love to hear from you. No, a slew of topics. I mean, yesterday we were talking about one that still is relevant. And when Joe Raspanti joins us in the 5 o'clock hour, New Orleans attorney Joe Raspanti, we're going to talk about a new trial set for Cardell Hayes. No plea deal today as expected. Trial set for February. We'll find out what happened there. And also in Bucktown. I find it interesting with the local media. It's all about the Lucifer devil prop holding Jesus Christ's decapitated head in the front yard of a Halloween display in front of this guy's house. That's the story locally by all the news outlets. With just the slightest bit of digging, with just the slightest bit of knowledge and information, listening to this program, for instance, for the last few years. This is the same guy on Seminole Street in Bucktown, right off the lake, that has the 6th letter of the alphabet, the F-bomb, Biden sign up there. And I believe the white conservative folks, God-fearing in Bucktown, do not like that 6th letter of the alphabet, F-bomb, being up there in plain view for kids and elderly to see and everybody to see. But since it's Joe Biden, they sort of let it pass. If it were Trump, that sign wouldn't have lasted a week in Trump country. But since it's Joe Biden, that sign's been up for a few years now. The F-bomb, same house. No problem, Bucktown people, right? That's offensive. That is obscene. Now, my faith is Jesus and the Lucifer holding Jesus's head. I mean, the homeowner's kind of wacky to begin with all the signage crap. The Sanford and Son look of the house. You know, the guy's a little off kilter, maybe. It's America. I can do whatever I want with my house. That kind of mentality. Yeah, I hear you, Mr. Selfish, but the rest of the neighborhood has to deal with your stuff. And he admits, I like making people uncomfortable. You're succeeding. Uncomfortable in a bad way. Now, that's religious. You have religious freedom. It's a Halloween display. The thing that offends the Bucktown folks the most is the thing that legally probably will stay. And if they would have been offended by the F-bomb sign, maybe this Lucifer thing with Jesus's head wouldn't be there at all anyway. And I'm not saying you get what you deserve or the chickens come home to roost. I'm not saying any of that. Just saying you should not like the F-bomb sign, and you've let that go for a few years, Bucktown folks, in that yard. Now, all of a sudden, the Lucifer Jesus thing pops up, and folks are losing it in Bucktown. And I hear you. The problem is the Jesus thing's probably got a better chance of sticking around, where the obscene F-bomb sign probably legally needs to go. We'll talk about that and more next.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" And he said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program where you're the show producer. Whatever you'd like to discuss on a Wide Open Wednesday, we'd love to hear from you. Hey, I've got a few $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates available. Yeah, you're right. Hey, guys, the ladies love a visit to the city's premier day spa, the Woodhouse. There are 5 of them in the metro area. No, it's a day of relaxation for her. They love it. It's like the Super Bowl. Take care of her. And by the way, guys, an unexpected gift for her is a grand slam home run. Woodhouse Day Spa. The Woodhouse Day Spa. 5 area locations, 2 on the South Shore, 2 on the North Shore, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, the Woodhouse Day Spa. Yeah, you right. What do I got? 1, 2, 3. I got a few Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates, gift cards, $50 each. When Archie Manning was the NFC Offensive Player of the Year, who was his head coach? I threw out a hint. It was circa 1978. The official state musical instrument, we got that answer, the accordion. The accordion, how appropriate. That's perfect. I was thinking piano, but I wasn't thinking smart enough or deep enough, and the accordion's better because that really, Cajun culture, the piano on wheels kind of thing. Take it with you, piano. That was answered. What is Watson Break? Poverty Point? What are these things? What are these places? What are they? What is Watson Break? Poverty Point. You got the answer to that question? 50 big bucks at the Woodhouse Day Spa can be yours. How about the Louisiana State Insect? Come on, that's got to be an easy one, right? Louisiana State Insect. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. And when Archie Manning was NFC Offensive Player of the Year, who was his head coach? Give me the answer to any of those questions. I got 50 big bucks for you at one of the 5 area Woodhouse locations. Hey, no cheating. No intranet device, no search engines, no Google. I'll know if you're cheating or not. I want to learn something, not you reading the wiki page. So does the listening audience. We want to learn something. My grandfather used to own that place and blah, blah, blah. When I was a child, we went there and this is, want to learn something. Anyone can read L wiki page. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. New trial date set for Cardell Hayes. No plea deal. It's going to trial. At least that's what he says. Joe Raspanti in the 5 o'clock hour will join us. Former Tulane coach Buddy Teevens has died. Only 66. Complications from that bicycle accident in March. I think he got hit by a vehicle while riding a bicycle in Florida. Super classy, humble, nice guy. Really represented Tulane in New Orleans well. Sad. Nice guy. 50 years ago today, Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs, Houston Astrodome. A lot at stake in that tennis match. Let's head to the phone lines on Wide Open Wednesday. Yeah, Bucktown, the F-bomb Joe Biden sign, that was up for years in this guy's yard. No big deal. But the Jesus, beheaded, Jesus's head being held by the devil in this guy's yard for a Halloween display, which I don't understand at all. I don't get it. Now folks are freaking out. I hear you, but you should have been freaking out about the F-bomb sign too. Let's head to the phone lines. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. Rob is in New Orleans. What's up, Rob?
Yeah, one of those questions. Poverty Point's a Native American burial mound.
Poverty Point is a Native
or
American.
Mound. I don't know if it's a burial mound, or a ceremonial mound, but
What's Watson Break?
I don't know. If you put them together, I'm assuming it's the same thing.
I don't know if is it a burial ground or it's an earthworks?
No, I didn't say ground. I said mound. Because there are three types of mounds. There's burial, there's midden, and ceremonial. But it's a Native American mound, and in fact, you can see it. They can see it from space. It's got like shapes of animals and stuff. And
I would say more of an earthworks than a burial ground. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying those were communities, right? Like little towns, little cities, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't say burial ground. I said burial mound.
Burial mound, whatever. It's more than a burial mound. It's those earthworks, those mounds were little towns and cities. I'm sure a cemetery was part of it, but it was entire cities. But essentially, Rob, you are correct. Watson Break is another one in Louisiana. Poverty Point.
There's a lot of them. And they go all the way up to Ohio, like Cahokia. And you probably know this, Corey, on the LSU campus, the mounds on the LSU campus are they say the oldest man-made structures in the world.
Maybe the oldest man-made structures in the Western Hemisphere. Some might say the world. They're trying to prove that it's just the Western Hemisphere and still catching some slack on that. But yeah, like 5,500 to 6,000 years old, something like that.
Yeah. And
those two Indian mounds right there on LSU's campus by the Manship School of Journalism, by the Cox facility, the old Jim Armory. It's amazing. Those two mounds have been there a long time. Anything else, Rob?
Well, there's thousands of them. They're all over the state, and a lot of them are getting washed away into the sea. But yeah, no. And I've known about it for years. It's a state park. I've been meaning to go to check it out.
Yep.
It looks real interesting, No,
I want to check it out too. The other one is, as I mentioned, is Watson Break. And you're right. Those are significant, Rob, like you can see from space. But you're right. There probably were hundreds, if not thousands of them up the Mississippi River, but most of them near the river or the Delta or different tributaries to the river. And like you said, all the way up to Ohio. You know what you're talking about, Rob. I had to research it. I'm like, what's the show? The pawn shop show in Vegas.
Right, Pawn Stars.
And you get the dopey dude that knows nothing. And he's like, in the Civil War, these rifles, these muskets were first used on so-and-so, and they were a single shot. And then Colt came up with like, dude, you didn't know any of that. He's telling it like I'm knowledgeable about all this. It's like, dude, you know none of that. Now I know a little bit about these earthworks, but I read when I'm trying to come up with a trivia question, I kind of learn a little bit more. And I didn't know about the Ohio and up the river stuff until like the last few weeks. So you're on it, Rob. But I hope I'm a little better than the Pawn Star dudes.
Right.
Jeez. Hang on a second, all right? You know what I landed on, Jason, the other day? It's like the B version of Pawn Stars. And it's old. It's like 10 years old. It was in Detroit. I forget what it's called, like hardcore pawn. And essentially it's just Jerry Springer type people showing up at the pawn shop with like basically going, hey, how much will you give me for this little football, Jason? You say, a quarter, 25 cents. You're like, I want $100 for it. And then you roll your eyes and then you say, I'll give you 50 cents. And then I'm like, $90. And then you're like, it's a styrofoam little football. It's worth 50 cents. And then I want my $90. And then they get into their personal stuff. I got to get my car out of the pound. I have a ticket to pay. I need to buy groceries, whatever. And then they get mad. And then some huge bouncer dude escorts the people out. And that's the loop. We're going to do this for years in the same episode. Just different people embarrassing themselves and you yelling at them. Anyway, I landed on hardcore pawn the other day. Hardcore. Oh, wow, I'm getting the pun now. I missed the pun, and the Freudian slip exposes the pun to me. I'm serious. When I said hardcore pawn, I didn't even think the play on words. I just thought Detroit, 9 Mile, whatever. It's sort of just a bunch of crazy folks coming in and shenanigans. That lasted about 15 minutes, Jason. And then I said, boy, my brain has slipped into a blob of jelly. Time to read something or go outside and get some exercise. Hardcore pawn. Terrible. Excellent work, Rob, in New Orleans. Picking up 50 big bucks. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. What is Watson Break, Poverty Point, Burial Mounds, Earthworks, little towns, little cities from thousands of years ago. 2 of them right here in Louisiana. And Poverty Point is like, internationally recognized. I forget the exact designation. A world something site. Anyway, there's, hundreds of those. Just a few dozen in the United States, I believe, and one of them's in Louisiana. Sweet. Good job, Rob. Corey Johnson with you. It is Wide Open Wednesday. Don't move.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe, in the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. I love Wide Open Wednesday. No, I did my work. I got my show sheet all prepped up, chock full of topics. But on Wide Open Wednesday, we give you a little extra carte blanche. You're always welcome 5 days a week. Not a whole lot different from Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But on Wide Open Wednesday, you're the show producer. Whatever you want to discuss, maybe a topic that isn't being discussed enough, maybe one we're totally missing. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open, 766-984-80, 766-984-80. You know, I was mentioning Helm Paint and Decorating. It's official. 4 Baton Rouge locations. Helm Paint and Decorating. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, you go to Helm. Do it once. Do it right. They'll steer you in the right direction for over half a century. Now in Baton Rouge with 4 locations. Plus free 2-hour delivery anywhere in Metro Baton Rouge. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, when you got to paint in Metro Baton Rouge, Helm Paint and Decorating with 11 locations. 7 in Metro New Orleans, 4 in Metro Baton Rouge. Helm will steer you in the right direction. Baton Rouge, you guys have an ace in the hole when it comes to paint store now. I love Helm. Been using them for decades. Hey, Damian Michaels joins us again. He's with New Orleans' own Relevant Studios. Damian, how are you this afternoon?
Good, Corey. How are you? Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, man. Getting through the week. I enjoy having you on the program. We've been talking about Blue Plate mayonnaise, legendary Blue Plate mayonnaise. Just real quickly, folks may be having trouble finding it on the store shelf because they're looking for the old label. New label, and it's kind of ironical because it sort of takes you back to Riley Foods history. A new label, but the great flavor that everybody knows when it comes to Blue Plate mayonnaise.
Yeah, it was getting a little dated. We hadn't really attended to the aesthetics too much for over quite some time. We just focused on consistency and quality. And at some point we started looking at other brands and how they were giving themselves a refresh. And as we started to do our history, we found that the fancy plate that they used was really trying to connote a small luxury item for the home. It was in a very small jar. And so we went back to that. We saw as an opportunity to be able to tie it back into New Orleans, because that's one of the things that we also had kind of gotten away from, was mentioning New Orleans. And New Orleans is a culinary mecca and known as renowned around the world for its food. And so we're part of some iconic dishes, and we just weren't saying that. So we weren't trying to get fancy with ourselves. We were just trying to go back to our roots with, why we were special to begin with.
Yeah.
And the inside, the outside didn't match the quality in the inside. So we sought to address that. And with any redesign or update or refresh, you do run the risk of having people, not being able to find it just by muscle memory at a glance. So we have to do a little bit of heavy lifting and kind of bring some attention to it. But so far, so good, and it's going really, really well. We're getting great feedback on the label itself and the product. So
yeah, I've got a customer, client, someone on my program, kind of got some history, and they've got a great known logo. They don't want to change it, but got to try to implement New Orleans into it because the product now is beyond New Orleans. And you want to hang your hat on New Orleans when it comes to a food item, don't you?
Well, I mean, Southern cuisine travels around the world without being adulterated. It's believe it or not, it's one of those things that just stays consistent, and it's a category unto itself, and it has just this amazing depth and breadth of items that or dishes that just make Southern cuisine special, and you really can't improve upon it. So it travels around the world, and of course, New Orleans is at the heart of that, and not enough companies were really trying to take ownership of that. And it's just one of the things that we recognize. Like, wait a minute, this is a bird in the hand that we're not telling anybody about.
Riley Foods is pure New Orleans. Damien, tell us some of the Riley Foods products. It's ridiculous. It is a long list of items. I think some folks are going to be kind of blown away that it's a New Orleans company, that these are New Orleans products, that the company's headquartered downtown New Orleans, all these products. So rattle off the list if you can.
Well, the big two New Orleans are Louisiana tea, and Blue Plate mayo. But then we have Tiger sauce, French Market coffee. I'm going to draw a blank. Swan's Down, which is the second oldest CPG brand still in existence.
The flour.
That's a great cake flour that home bakers and professional bakers swear by. And then we make all assortments of hot sauces. And so it's really, the portfolio is really deep. And then, of course, because we've been in the tea and coffee business for a couple hundred years, in fact, the family goes back 400 years in the tea business, we acquired a New England coffee in the Northeast.
Wow.
And that they make obscenely great coffees as well as flavored coffees, which is really hard to pull off, but for some reason they come up with these spectacular flavors. So it's a varied portfolio, and the reasoning and the thinking of Carol Shelby chili.
Yep.
And taco seasoning. That's an iconic individual that developed a product, and of course we were very fortunate, I think, to buy that back in the 80s. But yeah, it's fantastic products. And the great thing about the plants is whenever they're inspected, whether or not it's planned or surprised, they always get top ratings because, again, the family has always focused on quality first. And it's best in class manufacturing just produces the best product. So it's a great portfolio and a great company to work for.
Lots of coffee products. I mean, you guys had like 70 labels under the umbrella at one time, right? Some of those have been discontinued, morphed into others, but you still have, there are people that like these specific coffee brands, Damien, and you guys still provide those lots of coffee products.
Yeah, around the turn of the century, not many people really realized, but New Orleans was kind of like the coffee epicenter of the country. I think there were, in New Orleans alone, there were over 500 coffee brands, and the Riley Taylor family owned about 70 of them. Everything from Tulane coffee to Eye Opener to my favorite, which is Voltaire, which has got this crazy label that is just magnificent to look at. It's a turn of century label. And right there at the building on, on Girard Magazine,
yep.
They used to roast, I think at one time it was 130 million pounds of coffee on the 5th floor. And then the mule-driven wagons would pull through the first floor, load up, and take a left on Magazine and go either back to the port or to the restaurants or, to grocery stores. So it was a spectacular business turn of the season. And in fact, the 25th anniversary of William B. Riley and Company, the founder was really, really proud of these two new things called iced tea and iced coffee. And that was in 1928. And everybody thinks iced coffee became famous with Starbucks.
Yeah.
Back in 28, New Orleans was doing it, and the Riley family was producing it. So
wow.
It's just phenomenal history in the food culture in New Orleans.
No, I mean, Union Coffee with the green label. When I was a child, they had a thing where my mom was cutting off the front of the 10 bags, of the bag. And if you had 10 of them, you got a free pound of coffee, back in the 70s. So there were little gimmicks like that. RT, all these products are still out there. It's amazing that all of this is out of Riley Foods. Louisiana iced tea, we see that going over the high rise in the East. I mean, that's one of the top iced tea brands in the United States of America. Everybody remembers old Burl Ives. I'm talking about the 70s when I was growing up. Tedley tells you what to do when it gets cloudy. Louisiana doesn't tell you what to do when it gets cloudy because it doesn't get cloudy.
Yeah, clear as a bell.
Yep.
You made those great commercials and give it a thump, and you were off to the races. Yeah, what's amazing is they captured lightning in a bottle once with a fantastic product. And I don't know if you know how hard it is to source the right tea leaves and blend them properly, and you've got all the climates and the aromatics and all the stuff that you've got to contend with. But they have captured light in a bottle for over 100 years and just made an obscenely good iced tea product. And of course, now we're in Southern blends. We do hot blends where we've got some flavored teas, and those are really exciting because they capture the essence of the South. But we've got cold brews. We've got, at home, I take a cold brew iced tea bag and just throw it in a big bottle of Evermore, which is another one of our brands, a 64-ounce bottle. And in about 20 minutes time, I got fresh brewed tea, and nobody's the wiser. I didn't go jump through all the hoops to make it.
Hey, Damien, always like having you on the program. Yeah, I implore folks to go check out Riley Foods' website, rileyproducts.com. Damien, always a pleasure, man. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Corey. Have a great day.
You too. That's Damien Michaels, Relevant Studios over at Riley Foods. No, it is amazing. It's a New Orleans company. A lot of folks are always getting on New Orleans. It's been around for over 100 years in the Crescent City, still located here. So many products, a few dozen products. Incredible. Incredible. It is a wide open Wednesday. Don't move. Coming right back.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Hey, I still have a few $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. When Archie Manning was the NFC Offensive Player of the Year. That's right. Saints quarterback Archie Manning was the NFC's Offensive Player of the Year one season. I'll even give you the year, circa 1978. Who was the Saints head coach? No Google, no Yahoo, no search engines, no internet device. You either know the answer or you don't. The Louisiana State Insect. Come on, people, isn't that an easy one? The Louisiana State Insect. Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480 to participate. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480. A new trial date set for Cardell Hayes. No plea deal. I mean, there was a trial date set, then it looked like that trial date was going to be, nixed because Cardell Hayes was going to cop a plea deal. Now the trial date set for February 5th, maybe. Joe Raspanti, New Orleans attorney, will join us in less than 30 minutes, in about 20 minutes, a little bit after, as we get into the 5 o'clock powwow, I should say, and talk about Cardell Hayes. Also, the homeowner in Bucktown with the F-bomb Biden sign with the devil holding Jesus Christ's head, decapitated head, is a Halloween display. What's legal? What's not? Where I think the F-bomb sign, legally, obscene, legally in America, better chance of getting rid of that than the Halloween display, sadly. I know a lot of folks aren't going to like that, but freedom of speech, freedom of religion, it may be obscene to you and blasphemous for you and your faith, but folks that don't follow your faith don't think that maybe at all. And would you feel the same way if it were geared towards the Jewish religion or Muslim religion or Buddhist or something else? I mean, that's the key about America. You have to be mad at the act, not the specific thing that maybe affects you personally. It would be any religious thing that would affect me. Like, why go there? But then I'd be like, legally, can they go there? That's a tough one. The 6th letter of the alphabet, the F-bomb sign, that's obscene. That legally, that seems like an easy path. An easy path. The Halloween display, that's the tougher one. And ironically, folks in Bucktown let the F-bomb sign fly for years. It's been there for 2 years at least. No problem. But this Halloween display that's going to be gone in 4 weeks, in 6 weeks, that's a major problem. The sign that's been up for 2 years, no big deal. We'll talk about that with Joe Raspanti. 50 years ago today, was it the Battle of the Sexes? Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs, Houston Astrodome. Bobby Riggs was sort of a male chauvinist. I think he took on, who did he play? Another female, is it Court? Who he beat. Billie Jean King was 29 years old in her prime. Bobby Riggs is 55-year-old dude like my age. Billie Jean King, straight set, 6'4", 6'3", 6'3". No, that was the year that Women's Tennis Association started. That's the year that I think Billie Jean King won the U.S. Open. She got 10 grand. Ilie Nastase, nasty Nastase, he got 25,000 for winning. So Billie Jean King told the U.S. Open, hey, guys, next year, women aren't going to show up unless it's equal pay. This was in 73, 74. The U.S. Open made it equal pay 50 years ago. Men and women, same purse for the winners. Men and women at the U.S. Open. So Billie Jean King, I mean, part of the fabric of this country. A game changer. Someone that was an incredible athlete all by themselves. Just what she did on the tennis court alone would be a hero and known and all that. What she did off the court makes the tennis accomplishments, which are incredible, some of the greatest ever, makes them sort of insignificant. Her off the court achievements changed America for the better. Such a sad story. Former Tulane Green Wave coach Buddy Teevens has passed away at just 66 years old. Complications from this March bicycle accident. Had to get a leg amputated. It's been a rough time for Buddy Teevens. Super classy, humble, nice guy. Represented Tulane and New Orleans so well. Just sad. Just a one of the good guys. And gone way too early, way too young. Corey Johnson with you. Wide Open Wednesday, 5 o'clock powwow was coming your way. Leidenheimer French bread. Leidenheimer Baking Company. Baking that Leidenheimer French bread in the city of New Orleans now for over 125 years and still baking it in their bakery. Leidenheimer Baking Company Bakery in New Orleans. Then I'm subbing it out. Here are the ingredients. This is how we do it. Leidenheimer actually opened a plant in Baton Rouge, and just the new equipment, the water in Baton Rouge, not anything wrong with it. Just how Leidenheimer bakes their bread in New Orleans, they couldn't duplicate it in Baton Rouge. They ended up shutting down that factory, brand new state-of-the-art. And they have their state-of-the-art factory in New Orleans, bakery. They've been doing it since 1896, that French bread you love. Good to the last crumb, New Orleans own Leidenheimer French bread. Blue Boy, what's up, buddy? 5 o'clock power hours next, you're right. Then what, kibble, walk, petting, all kind of fun times, huh? I hear you, buddy. Wide Open Wednesday. We continue next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at paint.com.
Help Paint, let's do you right.
I'm Corey Johnson. New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
Sorry, I want to not, man. I used to listen to your show all the time, so it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody had a great experience at Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good, and we need to prove it all the time.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery stores, both in the old Sewell Cadillac building, the century-old warehouse, and uptown on Balance is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans' grocery store. Rouse's Market. Tastes like home.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at NOLA Coalition Info.
Such a politically incorrect song. People having trouble with their weight, they're just going to say fat man and sing it. Fat man. So proudly they sing it. They're enthusiastic about it. He's looking for a box of fudge. Where's the ice cream? The candy? I like butter. Watch, they start teasing him. Nah, 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 like you're fat. It's terrible. We had to cut off the teasing with the fat man. Bring in number 9, Drew Brees, an honorable gentleman, a good guy, like Ron Howard from Mayberry, the Andy Griffith Show. Unless, of course, there's a product to endorse, then Drew Brees is all over that product. I have no idea what that product is. You're writing me a check to endorse it. Hi, everyone at Lowe's. It's Drew Brees, your Lowe's man. Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. Thanks so much for joining us. 5 o'clock power hour coming your way. Got a lot to discuss, including Joe Raspanti joining us in about 10 minutes because we got a lot to discuss and we need New Orleans attorney to get us through the legalities, that legal part of it. A new trial date set for Cardell Hayes. No plea deal. Supposed to cop a plea deal. No trial. Sentencing. Trial date now set for February 5th. We'll visit with Joe Raspanti about that. Plus the Bucktown situation. It's just interesting to me how the F-bomb sign, because it's Joe Biden, I get it. If it was the F-bomb Trump, it would have been gone in a week. We don't care about if it's Trump or Biden. The F-bomb part's so offensive. Please pass an ordinance, council, to remove it. That would have been done in a week if it was F-bomb Trump. But because it's F-bomb Biden, the people in Bucktown, a lot of white hyper-conservative types that like Trump, they're like, oh, we don't like the F-bomb on this crazy guy's house, but we hate Trump. I mean, we hate Biden more, so we'll just look the other way. Now it's about 2 years later, 2 years of F-bomb Biden, and there's a Halloween display that's going to be up apparently for about the next 6 weeks. Till Halloween, I'm assuming. It's the devil with an outstretched arm holding the decapitated head of Jesus Christ. I don't understand the Halloween connection at all, but this guy says, I like to scare people and I like to make people uncomfortable. And no truer words could be said. You put the 6th letter of the alphabet word, the F-bomb, up on anything. F-bomb Trump, F-bomb Biden, F-bomb spaghetti and meatballs, F-bomb Ford, Chevrolet, America, whatever. It's just, I don't know, kind of offensive, harsh. I think legally it is obscene and seems like something that an ordinance could be passed that could legally stand where it would have to be removed. But no one in Bucktown seemed to care about that. You put off the F-bomb sign, it seems like folks should have been freaking out. But I honestly believe because it's white conservative Bucktown and it was Joe Biden, they sort of wink, wink, laughed and looked the other way, which is a shame because Biden, Trump, anybody, the F-bomb's got to go. Can't have that. Elderly children driving by seeing that. Women, I don't want my mom seeing that if she happened to drive down that street. That's pathetic. Legally, I think you have a leg to stand on. I don't know about legally with the religious display, with a Halloween display that is temporary in the yard. It's not permanent like the F-bomb sign, which has been up for 2 years straight. Where have you Bucktown people been? Now you're freaking out because your God, your guy, like mine, my faith, I'm Catholic, Christian, born in New Orleans. Jesus Christ is my God, my Savior. That's who I pray to. That's my faith. That's my personal choice. In America, law, constitution, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. I don't know how you're going to get that off that dude's lawn. Should have been worrying about the F-bomb sign, because maybe if an ordinance was passed that would have included that, maybe he would have never done the Halloween setup. Maybe he would have thought, that might fall under the ordinance too. I'm not saying the chickens have come home to roost or you get what you deserve or any of that, but it is ironical, you have to admit. And I think if you're honest with yourself, if it had the F-bomb and Trump up there, if there was some liberal hippies in that house, you would freak out about it. And that sign would have been gone in a week. But because it was the F-bomb and Biden, a lot of people in Bucktown were like, we don't like the F-bomb, but boy, we hate Biden. Ha, 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 funny sign. And you let it go. Now it's coming back to hit you smack dab in the face. This joker, this Sanford and Son guy, this menace to the neighborhood, just contrary. I like making people uncomfortable. With my weirdly painted home, with the junk in the yard, the Sanford and Son appearance. Yeah, you're succeeding. You're making people in Bucktown uncomfortable. And now with this Halloween display, you're really making them uncomfortable. Sad thing is they should have been really uncomfortable with the F-bomb Biden sign. F-bomb, the Biden part's irrelevant. That's what you folks can't get out of your head. I don't like Biden. Doesn't matter. It's the F-bomb part. I don't want my mom, children, people seeing that. I don't get it. We'll talk with Joe Raspanti about that and more. And more. Battle of the Sexes at the Astrodome 50 years ago today. Billie Jean King, what a mover and shaker. As great as she was on the tennis court, did so much more off the court. Changed America. Women's rights, equality in women's sports. It's still continuing today. She's like the Jackie Robinson of it for women. She wins the U.S. Open in 1973 or 74. Her prize was 10 grand. Ilie Nastase won on the men's side. He got 25,000. She said, hey, U.S. Open, next year, none of the women are showing up, because she formed the Women's Tennis Association in 73, and the women were tight, and they're like, yeah, equal prize money or no go. And the U.S. Open said, okay, equal prize money. Equal prize money. Billie Jean King beating Bobby Riggs, 6'4", 6'3", 6'3". Billie Jean King is top few women tennis players in the world at age 29. Bobby Riggs was 55 years old at the time. The battle of the sexes. Corey Johnson with you. Wide Open Wednesday. New Orleans lawyer Joe Raspanti joining us in a few minutes. Hey, I've got a few $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates, gift cards to give away. Little trivia action. When Archie Manning was NFC Offensive Player of the Year in 1978, who was the Saints head coach? Who was Archie Manning's head coach when he was the NFC Offensive Player of the Year? Got the answer? I got 50 big bucks. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Louisiana State Insect. The Louisiana State Insect. That one seems easy. Although the official state musical instrument, I would have thought piano, and it's an accordion. Different instrument altogether. Louisiana State Insect. Give me the answer to that. I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Hey, no cheating. No search engines, no intranet device. You either know the answer or you don't. Hey, are you on the causeway right now? Trey Yen in Mandeville's open for the night. Why don't you fire in a big to-go order right now? Curbside pickup. They'll walk it right out to your car. You don't even get out of the vehicle. Mom, dad, the kids, everybody loves a big to-go order from Trey Yen. And Trey Yen, honestly, one of the best seafood restaurants in Metro New Orleans. The Wong brothers love the South Louisiana seafood. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine. Trey Yen in Mandeville. So good. So sad. Former Tulane head coach Buddy Teevens has died. Complications from a March bicycle accident. He was riding a bike in Florida, always in good shape. 66 going on 40. Just a great guy, positive vibe. Gets hit by a truck. Lost his legs, spinal cord injury. He succumbed to those injuries from March. Tough summer for Buddy Teevens. Super classy and a guy that represented Tulane and New Orleans so well. Sad story.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" And he said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
There's a little jewelry store that's been around about 50 years, doing you right, New Orleans. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in the Carrollton section of Uptown, in between Broadway and Carrollton. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. Real natural diamonds, 1 billion years old. This is so important. There's so many jewelry stores, some local, some fly-by-night folks that have come in from out of town. Diamond jewelers. They're not selling watches, diamond jewelers. And you know what they're selling? 3-week-old, lab-created, man-made diamonds. Junk. Stuff that's depreciating in value every single second you own it. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm buying diamonds, guys, it's for her. And it is a lifetime purchase, enduring value, something that appreciates, something special, because it's for the most special person in my life. I'm not trying to sneak, something in there or get away with something or lie to myself and her. I'm not getting her 3-week-old, man-made, lab-created diamonds. I'm getting the real thing, real diamonds, natural diamonds from Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. Just like Ken Friend says, you have a friend in the jewelry business, which is really nice because in the jewelry business, you need a friend, someone you can trust. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers, Maple Street, in between Broadway and Carrollton. Speaking of someone you can trust, whenever we have a legal problem, we need some legal advice, we go with the expert, not some fly-by-night ambulance chaser, insurance company facilitator. No, a real attorney, a real lawyer that knows the law, that goes to court, that has experienced trials, that knows the judges because he's been with them professionally. Yeah, we bring in the pro, the savvy pro, Joe Raspanti, who, by the way, you can check him out on Tuesday mornings on Fox 8, talking legal stuff. How you doing again, Joe?
I'm doing great, Corey. Thanks for the kind words.
That's all true. Love having you on. I love how you give us legal info. You keep it in layman's terms. Even I can understand it. It's a good thing. All right, this I'm having trouble understanding. Cardell Hayes going to trial. Now he's not going to trial because there's a plea deal. Then it's time to do the plea deal. And now there's a new trial date set for Cardell Hayes. No plea deal, at least not right now. Trial date set for February 5th. What's going on with that, Joe?
I mean, I don't know all the machinations of why it didn't happen or did happen, but bottom line is this. There's either when I teach a little course at Loyola Law School, there's only 2 ways you can go with that V in the middle. It's state of Louisiana versus Cardell Hayes, and you can either resolve your issue or not. And it didn't look like they've resolved it here. He had 25 years sentence because he got found guilty of manslaughter because they charged him with murder. That jury 5 years ago came back not guilty for murder, but guilty for manslaughter.
Right.
Got sentenced to 25 years. The Supreme Court said it was a 10-2 verdict. If you remember, Louisiana and Oregon still had that 10 was enough.
Yep.
It got overturned, said you have to have it unanimous. So he got another bite at the apple. I've been hearing conversations for the last 2 or 3 years that we're trying to work it out. And just my gut, this is a case that nobody wants to try again. Not the family, not the defense attorneys, not the prosecutors, not the judge. It was such an ordeal. Anybody who went and watched it and was involved with it in any way knows that. He was at 25 years. Obviously, they were trying to work out something a little lower, a lot lower. And Jason Williams seemed to think they had a deal. They did not. So they went in there and the judge said, okay, no deal, good. Trial date February 5th. But I think the most important thing that everybody should take out of what happened today. Number one, no deal. That's fine. Second thing is Jason Williams said, I am going to do what's called a firearm enhancement. I'm going to file a motion, which is a simple thing. And what a firearm enhancement does, you can do this on any of the enumerated felonies, armed robbery, murder, manslaughter, and that's this. If you prove your underlying manslaughter, in addition to the manslaughter, you can be found guilty of this enhancement, which is pretty straightforward. It says, did you use a firearm and did you fire it in doing this crime? Obviously he did, so that's going to be a slam dunk. If it's there are gradations. If you just had possession of the gun, it's like a 2-year. If you use it, meaning pointed it, it's a 10. If you discharged it, which he did, it's a 20-year mandatory minimum. Let me repeat, 20-year mandatory minimum. So I'm thinking they were kicking around something less than 20 years. Hey, Cardell, maybe we'll offer you 15. Cardell says, no, I don't want 15. He says, okay, good. Now you can't even get mercy from Camille Beers. We're going to do something that she can't go less than 20. So that's the carrot and that's the stick.
That sort of sounds like, just my opinion, DA Jason Williams kind of pissed off. Like you said, no one wants to go through this trial again. Family, the city, no one. Let's work out a deal. And when Cardell Hayes balked, Jason Williams said, fine, we'll go to trial. And I'm adding this caveat too.
That sounds about right. And that's what DAs do. And that's what prosecutors do. And, and that's what he did. And listen, we'll see. We'll see if this thing really does go to trial. But now, like I said, the carrot may have to be massaged, but now we got a real live stick with this thing.
Here's a perfect example of why I bring you on, and it happened last week. I said to you, and I think a lot of people think this way, hey, Joe, it was 10-2. Maybe Cardell Hayes feels confident. I'll go back. There are 2 folks that didn't vote for manslaughter. And you brought up such a great point that I didn't realize, and I think laymen like me don't realize. It's not necessarily true that 2 voted against it. They did, but when the jury got 10 people, what was needed to convict, they stopped the proceedings, maybe like John Doe and Jane Doe. They might work on them for another few hours or day, and then you'll have 12 folks, and it'll be a unanimous verdict. Absolutely. Maybe you never get those last 2, but my thinking was 10 folks said yes, 2 said no definitively, and you brought up a great point that, no, not necessarily definitively. They got what they needed, and they called it a day.
That's it. Can we go home if we get to 10, Judge? Yes. Okay, we got 10. Because if they didn't, if they said, what do we need, Judge? 12? Okay. They may have been in there another 45 minutes, and they talked to the other 2 people, say, look, man, come on. We'll and as usual, as many times, all right, we won't find them guilty of murder. We'll come down to manslaughter. We'll split the baby. I happen to think the manslaughter was the right verdict in this type of a case. And they said, okay, as soon as we get to, all right, we got number 9. Now we're down to 9-3. Okay, 1 more vote. 10-2. Sold. Done. Hey, Judge, we're finished. Can we go? We're ready to give you our verdict now. They quit working is what it called, because they didn't need to work anymore. So we'll see what happens going forward. And another thing that we talked about this a little bit, Corey, when you called me today, he went into jail, did about 5 years, got out. We got the video of his kid jumping into his arms.
Yep.
I don't know how long he's been out, 2-3 years.
Yeah. He's been out since 19, 3 or 4 years.
Living his life. And now all of a sudden, okay, here's our deal. We're going to give you 15 years, which means you got to do about 12. You got to go back in and give me 7 more years. It's like, hell no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Yep.
I have found, I haven't had it that much, but whenever a guy's done his time, you get him out on a bond or
and he's been out for a few years now. I think it was 16 to 21. So he's been out about 2 straight years.
There you go. And he's out and he says, I like being out.
Dude, look how big he is. He's enjoying food. He's enjoying mama's cooking. He's enjoying New Orleans. No, he's at home.
So we'll see what happens. There's still a chance that they could come to a resolution. But right now, we got a trial date.
Absolutely amazing. Joe Raspanti's with us, New Orleans attorney, talking about the Cardell Hayes trial, no plea deal. Now, Joe, his attorney, if he's worth his salt, wouldn't he be seeking out the 12 jurors from the previous trial, especially those final 2, to find out if what you were insinuating was true or if they were hardcore, pro Cardell Hayes? Because that would maybe give that attorney an idea of how well he's going to do in a second trial, or would an attorney not seek out the jurors from the previous trial?
Well, I like to do it all the time. Certain situations, federal courts, they don't like to talk to the jurors. But in state court, you cannot. And even when I get a verdict that isn't going to go away, if I win or if I lose, I always like to talk to jurors and say, what did you all think was important? And what was the hang up for you guys?
Nice.
Y'all were in there for 4 hours. What were y'all talking about?
That's so smart.
And invariably, it's hilarious. And believe me, not just me, other lawyers I know, they will say the thing that we thought was the most important thing in the world, they blew off in 5 minutes. And the thing, a little innocuous deal we didn't worry about, that's the thing they were screaming at the top of their lungs for 2 hours about.
Yeah.
So you never know. But when you listen to them, as I tell younger people, it makes you a better lawyer.
Of course.
Because it makes you know this is the deal. And which makes me always say, there's nothing that is unimportant in the preparation for a trial.
No, and it's like, how people think, how juries think, that might be different. What you assume as a young attorney, you talking to them, experience over and over again, that's invaluable. Joe Raspanti's with us. All right, Joe, before we move on from Cardell Hayes, because I got a few other legal topics I want to throw your way. Trial date set for February 5th. Doesn't necessarily mean there'll be a trial date February 5th. They could still be trying to hammer out a plea deal, right?
And you can work out a plea deal until I've had plea deals worked out after a jury has gone in for deliberations. We've tried a whole case. A defendant didn't like what he saw, or prosecutors didn't like what they saw, kind of got the agita, a little queasy, and they're saying, you know what, how about we cut a deal? Well, before the jury comes back, how about we give you this offer? Will you take it? And a lot of times that happens, and that's the end of that. You can cut a deal till the jury comes back with that verdict in their hand.
I'm like that Abagnale guy, that story? The guy who became a doctor, a lawyer, all this past the bar in Louisiana. He said he like studied for it. He watched some law TV programs. I watch enough Law and Order, Joe, where I can kind of keep up a little bit. I watch Law and Order. That's like me going to the doctor and telling him I saw the prescription on TV. Why aren't you prescribing that? You must love that stuff when the layman tells you, well, Joe, I saw it on NCIS.
You'd be surprised. What people think happens, and it sure isn't the case.
It's called Hollywood. Joe Raspanti's with us. Hey, Joe, there's a little bit of a dilemma in Bucktown. I don't like either side of it. There's a house on Seminole about a block off old Hammond Highway. It's like, I call it like the Sanford and Son guy. Almost every neighborhood has one. Almost any neighborhood, no matter how rich. There's just the guy that, kind of the jerk, just bad paint scheme in the house, doesn't landscape the house, parks vehicles in the front yard, just whatever. Just doesn't, kind of contrary, selfish, whatever. Maybe even a little off kilter. So this guy has a 6-letter of the alphabet, the F-bomb, Biden sign up. And it's been up for like 2 years. And I find it absurdly offensive. I don't care about the Biden part. It could say F-bomb Trump. It could say, I think in Bucktown, if it said F-bomb Trump, there would have been an ordinance in place within a week to remove it. But since it's F-bomb Biden in conservative Bucktown, I think they sort of overlooked it. But it's been there a couple of years. I think it's obscene and offensive. Okay, same house. This guy now has a Halloween display. And it's got like Lucifer, the devil, I'm guessing about 6 feet tall, a little model in the front yard, arm extended out, holding the decapitated head of Jesus Christ with the crown of thorns, and then it's like off the crucifix. Anyway, a lot of folks in Bucktown are freaked out about that, and Understandably so. I get it. Older women, religious, Christian, Catholic, blasphemy, they're offended by it. I am too. From a legal standpoint, it seems like the obscene sign with the F-bomb, that seems like an ordinance could be passed that legally could stick a lot easier than an ordinance passed where you can't have the religious display. I don't like either one at all, Joe. I'm not saying I like devil holding Jesus. I'm Christian. I'm Catholic. So I'm kind of offended by it. It makes me uncomfortable. But, boy, I think the F-bomb sign, legally, you got a chance of winning that than the religious fight. Neither do you think?
Well, one of them, I was thinking about it a little bit more. One of them is political speech, the Biden sign, cleaning up. The other one is religious free speech. Both of them First Amendment issues. And I'm gonna bet that this guy is going to say either one, or certainly the religious one, is satire. It's my idea of satire.
Already has said that. It's my Halloween. I mean no harm to religion or Christ or any of it.
That's his argument. I think, for the first one, the political speech, I know that there's certain neighborhoods where you cannot put up Joe Smith judge. You can't put a political sign.
No, certain neighborhoods have different rules. Can't have an RV in the driveway. Can't have a Mardi Gras float, a school bus. Can't have a dual truck, dually axle. Can't have truck with ladders. Business. No, I like those rules and regulations. So some neighborhoods even have a political sign up.
Right. Yeah, but probably not the case in Bucktown right now. And I don't want to be clear. I'm not Mr. First Amendment lawyer, but what I'm saying, even if you do pass an ordinance, remember the ordinance can be challenged. ACLU or somebody's going to say, we're going to challenge that for free speech purposes.
Yep.
Because that, so it's a slippery slope. You remember, you live in America. I mean, as I recall, there was a guy, who did a cartoon about one of the head guys there, and speaking about getting beheaded, he got beheaded, real life beheaded. So this is America, everybody. You get to say certain things. Old Potter Stewart, when he says, I know it when I see it.
I think that's like curse word. I can say ass and damn, right? I think I go into like the S word or the F bomb. I just think it's over. And I think everybody knows that. It's like I see no pornography when I see it. I know real curse words when I see them. Biden sucks. Biden is terrible. Biden's trash. Biden's garbage. Biden's the worst. I mean, even Biden sucks. But I mean, F-bomb, it just seems like legally the parish could pass an ordinance against obscene words, vulgar words, list them even. You remember television used to have the 7 curse words or whatever you couldn't say?
Absolutely. George Carlin, there was a famous album he had. But maybe the parish, and I don't know this, but I don't think they've gotten around to doing it. Nobody's raised this issue, and the guy's pushing the envelope.
Yep.
And let's see if somebody back.
Now, he says, I like making people uncomfortable. That's not a crime, right?
That's right. Exactly. It's not a crime. I'm clear, everybody. Listen, I'm not advocating for either one of those things to be. And if I lived next door to them or in the neighborhood and had my kids or grandkids running around, it would upset me greatly.
Yep.
And maybe I'd try to go do something about it.
Yep.
But I'm just telling you, under the Bill of Rights, he may have the right to do it.
Yep. Even the F-bomb part. It seems like as a lawyer, at least, religious thing, not by person, your religious faith view, from a legal standpoint, strictly, it seems like the argument for the vulgar curse word has a little more oomph in America law than the temporary religious thing, which I don't think you'd say vulgar. Faith people would say blasphemy or, but
I would say this, Corey, 20 or 30 years ago, the religious thing would have been the much greater hoo-ha in the world. Now, in the environment we're in now, political speech is the box.
Yep. Oh, no, I totally agree, generally speaking. But in Bucktown, the F-bomb sign up for 2 years. Still might be up behind the Halloween display. I don't know if he took it down. And the Halloween thing has been up for like a week, and it'll be gone by the end of next month. So it's just amazing to me how Bucktown tolerated, really didn't do anything, and now are having a meltdown. Seems like they should have a meltdown equally for both. But, that's just my opinion. Hey, Joe, can I throw another topic out your way?
Sure.
What do you think about the National Football League? Marcus May, I think he had a DWI. He gets a 3-game suspension. Alvin Kamara, him and his buddies beating up that guy in Vegas in the hallway, gets a 3-game suspension. All right, the NFL is one thing in the way they want to dole out justice. In the real world, are those two things kind of the same, like a DWI and beating someone up? Or are they legally, at least the penalty different legally?
Totally different, night and day. Kicking a guy in the face, which is without, and if you saw that video, it's pretty bad news. That is, I thought Alvin Kamara was going to get a bigger penalty.
Me too.
Frankly,
I thought 6 games.
6 games. I was thinking 6. I thought he got a great deal from him, and who knows how that occurred. And I won't get into speculation there.
And Joe, I thought what Nevada did was irrelevant. Like, I thought the NFL was going to do their own look at it from their lens. I mean, Nevada, they basically, lowered it to misdemeanor and community service. You could have had Seattle say, we want 30 days jail time and a felony. So, I mean, right?
Well, they do it. I've been under the sheets with the NFL going back to Junior Gillette and things like that. And the way they do things would be shocking to people if they knew. There's a certain arbitrary and capriciousness to it. And I think it still exists here because, I'm sorry, DWI is a bad thing. I represent people every day for DWIs, and I represent people every day for getting in fights like this. But I'm telling you, to equate them is, in my opinion, a false equivalency to give them the same penalty. And I think it's just the NFL being uneven.
DWI, someone's drunk. They could run over a bunch of people at a bus stop. Alvin Kamara, this one guy with his friend. It doesn't matter what we think strictly from a legal standpoint, which one of them is considered harsher and would get a hard penalty.
Without question. What he did was a felony, a big time, a second-degree battery is what it'd be called here, and guy is a
DWI.
I mean, it's a low misdemeanor. It's just it's a different set of equivalencies. But that's your boy Goodell. That's how he rolls. So we'll see. I'm going to wait and see if somebody in Denver gets in trouble, and I want to see if it's still about the Saints or was it always about Sean Payton. We'll see. We'll see down the line, I'm sure.
I about Sean Payton, and
I do too.
Well, I think the biggest screw up of the whole Bounty Gate thing was, and it's never talked about, Tom Benson basically gave the NFL access to like all the computers. If the IRS comes to you, Joe, and they go, we want to audit your 20 and 21 taxes, give them 20 and 21. Don't give 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 too. So I think much information. I think the NFL went, over whatever their bounds and went into these personal emails. I think when you're getting emails of Sean Payton to who was that guy? Ornstein, the guy who put up the billboards in Tampa that was kind of blackballed by the NFL. So the NFL doesn't like Ornstein. Payton and Ornstein are buddies. Payton and Ornstein are dogging Goodell in the NFL back and forth in email. So I kind of think Sean Payton made his own bet a lot on that Bounty Gate. I mean, I look at it this way. The greatness of Sean Payton, the competitiveness, the, winning cost, just the hyper, offensive genius type of thing. I think that helped New Orleans win a Super Bowl. The Saints win a Super Bowl. And I also think it helped lead to Bounty Gate.
I think I agree with you 100%. And there's even more to it than that, I think, which probably not even supposed to go into, but there was a lot to that thing. and there was a lot to the Joe Vitt pill case.
Exactly.
That never came out.
Exactly.
I'll leave it at that.
Exactly.
The
pill gate that just sort of went away. There were no penalties really, and I think that, and I think you're right on the money. I think you nailed it.
Well, sometimes you know things from the street, and sometimes you know things professionally. And you can't mix them up, so I'm going to just quit talking.
No, and I know this. As a Saint fan, you're going to be happy to see Alvin Kamara Game 4.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me
Absolutely.
too. Me too. But I said what you said. Fletcher Macklin and I were talking about, I'm like, dude, he's going to get 6 games. League isn't looking at Vegas and it's a misdemeanor, or if it was a funny, that's irrelevant. They're passing from their lens. And I was wrong, and Fletcher was right. It was 3 games. I thought it was going to be 6, Joe, for sure. Because of that video, like you said, kicking the dude, just like 3-4 on 1. You know, I don't know. You're right. It sends a wishy-washy message.
It sure does. It sure does.
The union's in a pickle because they don't want. No, you should penalize Camaro more. The union has to just sort of swallow and go. I mean, their only argument would be penalize Marcus May less, and that's not going to stick.
I think they got rid of that guy, the DeMarcus guy. I don't know who the newest person is, but I think they needed some better leadership, the NFLPA, and I think they may have gotten it. So,
hey, Joe, when will we see you next? Tuesday morning on Fox 8?
I did something for him today. I don't know when it ran because I'm kind of working. It may have already run. We were talking about, I'm on every Tuesday morning, 7:45, unless they call me about something else.
Can you tell us what you were talking about today?
Cardell Hayes.
Okay. I didn't know, because last time when you were going on Fox 8, and you were on the show, I don't think you knew what it was about, and it ended up being, what was that? I forgot what broke the day we had you on.
I don't know. People think I know more than I know. That's a sure thing over there at Channel 8. So you got to give me a little bit of heads up. I'm not Keith Spear talking about the Bruce Springsteen concert. There's right and wrong answers for the stuff you guys ask me. Give me a little chance to research every now and then.
Yeah.
But we try to do our best.
Joe, always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for the time.
All right, Corey. I always like talking to you, my boy. I appreciate what you do.
Yeah, you're right.
Swing in the back.
Right back at you. Thanks, man. That's Joe Raspanti, New Orleans attorney, talking about Cardell Hayes, the Bucktown situation, even Alvin Kamara. I like getting that legal perspective. It's different from how we feel, our opinion, and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning. Since 1940, sick of your dry cleaning? You just sort of deal with this mediocre dry cleaner you don't like? Why don't you experience the best in the business? Young's Dry Cleaning, a New Orleans institution, walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery. If you go to youngsdrycleaning.com, you can sign up for the free pickup and delivery list. Home office, East Bank, West Bank, or find out where a Young's Express manless locker is located, near where you live or work and you didn't even know. Find it all at Young's Dry Cleaning, youngsdrycleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday. Yeah, you right. 50 years ago today, the battle of the sexes, Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs. Billie Jean King off the court, doing so much more than on the court, and she was a world champ, as good as it gets. One of the best female tennis players of all time. Dominated and changed women's sports off the court, off the field, more than just about anybody. Sort of the, number 42 for baseball. Pretty amazing. She formed the Women's Tennis Association. She wins the U.S. Open, gets 10 grand. Ilie Nastase gets 25. She says no women are showing up next year unless it's equal pay. And the U.S. Open said, okay, equal pay. That was back in the early to mid 70s, 50 years ago. No, she's an icon, Billie Jean King. And she took care of Bobby Riggs, 6'4", 6'3", 6'3", at the Astrodome. Sad news, former Tulane coach Buddy Teevens passing away at just 66 years old. Just terrible. Got in a bicycle accident. A truck hit him while he was bicycling in Florida. His leg was amputated, spinal cord injury. This is Buddy Teevens, a very fit, physically fit, healthy guy, 66, the Dartmouth head coach, the former Green Wave coach, the Buddy system. No, just a sad story, passing away at 66. New trial date set for Cardell Hayes. No plea deal as expected today. No plea deal. Trial date set for February 5th. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now? Katie's in Mid-City. What are you waiting for? What a great place to check out Saints action, college football, lots of big screen TVs. They're open all day. They open in the morning, lunch, open throughout the day, dinner, 6 days a week, lunch and dinner, Sunday brunch. No, it's special at Katie's. It's the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Folks that live in the neighborhood obviously go to Katie's. Folks that don't live in the neighborhood make it their neighborhood restaurant. Folks that don't even live in New Orleans Parish make Katie's their neighborhood restaurant. If you roll in there like 1 or 2 o'clock, you'll see the same characters coming in every single day. More is better. More of the good things. Why aren't you at Katie's in Mid-City right now?
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
You're listening to The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Cotton Bowl winning coach Willie Fritz joining us on the program. Have you ever been part of a game that great?
A lot of things happen in the game. You just don't know the script. You got to adapt and improvise. You just got to keep playing hard the whole time, and our guys did an excellent job of that.
How big is yesterday for the overall future of the program?
You got to have the guys that really have a burning desire to get a quality education and also be a great football player. You know, you got to have both.
You've always have embraced New Orleans. You've been a great ambassador for the city, for Tulane University.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. My wife and I just love it here in New Orleans. And just everybody, the city's just sensational. We just a dime for a person who came up to me after the game. I had tickets in Tulane Stadium. I've heard that a ton of times. And then, that's good that we're able to make some people happy.
That's Willie Fritz joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Roll A.
The spirit of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the Neutral Ground.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Hey, Marigny, Bywater, Treme, French Quarter, CBD, Warehouse District, Garden District, Irish Channel. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Perrette at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets, taste like home.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me, and we're maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust, and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a wide open Wednesday. Joe Raspanti's good. I like getting him on because he's just like a regular dude. It's like Frank Brightson when it comes to, the quality chef he is. He's just humble and laid back and just chit-chatting. Joe Raspanti's the same way. Great legal mind, great attorney, seasoned veteran, yet understands like how I think and the layman thinks. And, people that don't have a law degree can lay it out kind of for us to understand and grasp. No, I like it. I learn something every time with Joe Raspanti. It's like the 10-2 verdict. Why didn't Cardell Hayes go back to trial? There were 2 folks that didn't vote to convict him. And Raspanti's like, maybe. And then maybe when they got to 10, they didn't need to get the other 2 and they stopped deliberations, which is a really valid point. So really, really, you learn something with Joe Raspanti. We had him on because Cardell Hayes, no plea deal. Trial set for February 5th, kind of a surprise. We broadcast every day, New Orleans, 4 to 6 o'clock weekdays. We do it from the Buddy Deliberto, River City's Total Maintenance Studios. Look, it's still, you wake up in the morning, it's still going to be mid-70s, which is nice, but then it creeps up to the high 80s every day, and that means your air conditioning's running every day. And if your AC isn't working right, you're uncomfortable. River City's Total Maintenance is there. Honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. Find them at NOLAAC.com. You ever need air conditioning help? It's as easy as this. NOLAAC.com. That's all you need to know. Every day we broadcast live. Where, Blue Boy? The Buddy Deliberto, River City's Total Maintenance Studios. You got it, buddy. What else? Just tell everybody thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow. And hurry home for petting and kibble and walking and all that. I hear you, Blue Boy. I hear you.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.